What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get a little spicy. So I decided to do a standalone spicy corner for Real Housewives of Atlanta, and there's a few things I want to get into. So let's get into it. So first up, let's talk about Miss Cynthia and Crystal. So Cynthia and Crystal were on the Veil Files, which is like a podcast. The guy's name I think is Veil. I don't watch The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, okay? But I think he was a contestant on The Bachelorette, and he interviews people from shows like Love is Blind, Love Island, Temptation Island, and he's interviewed a few of the Bravo celebrities, mainly from like what's it called, Vanderpump Rules and The Valley and stuff like that. Well, he did an interview with Crystal and Cynthia, and they were asked about Kenya. So let me play that clip for you guys.
And she said, let's not talk about Cynthia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that was good. I actually like that for you.
Oh, okay.
I love that for me.
I didn't take that as necessarily talking shit.
Really?
I didn't either.
Well, she didn't take that
I was
as an
very
opportunity.
grateful for it.
Yeah. Well, no, I see
A
what
lot
you
of
mean.
people
I think
talking
she
is
was a
talking
little
shit.
upset, but I also, it's like, I'm not even going to go there right now. But I will say, I just watched the clip. I didn't watch the thing. But man, the comments were very not positive to Kenya. They were like, enough already,
She is
enough.
What were they
tripling,
saying? I didn't.
quadrupling down.
She acted like it was a confessional, essentially, right?
mhm.
But like every time I see stuff like that happen, I'm reminded how quickly audience moves on. Like 2 weeks ago, it was Team Kenya, 2 weeks later, it's like, oh God, enough already. We don't care. We've moved on. Like, and it's sad because it's like her life, and it's like we all go through that. But like, audience is very quick. They are done with her.
So I thought this was interesting, and the main reason is because I could see everybody's points. Like the hostess that was like, oh, well, I kind of thought it was shade, because at first I did take it as shade, and I do think it was a little bit of shade when Kenya was like, I don't want to talk about Cynthia. But I understood what Cynthia, Crystal, and Vel were saying, where they were like, well, at least she didn't trash her. And I'm like, yeah, because right now the way that Team Twirl feels about Cynthia, and some people who are just general, like, you know, a part of like the Real Housewives of Atlanta fan base when it comes to this situation between Kenya and Britt are kind of looking at Cynthia sideways. Okay, and we'll talk more about Cynthia's behavior in the review, but I do think if Kenya wanted to dog out Cynthia, there would be a large group in Team Twirl and even the general fan base that would, you know, support her in that. So I do think her not saying anything is also her trying to be like, you know what, I'm mad at you right now, but I still care about this friendship. I also think it was kind of interesting, Crystal's perspective about how, you know, fans move on quickly and they're done with this situation. And I'm just kind of like, what fans are you looking at, Crystal? Because on Twitter, and it could just be my timeline, my algorithm, you know, but people still bring up what Britt did, because a lot of people feel like production did not reprimand her and don't understand why she's still on this show, because she's not giving, you know? So but I do understand where Crystal's coming from, where it's like, you're on the show, you're reliving it, and you're still there, but everybody else that's watching the show is kind of like, get over it, move on. So I do understand what she's saying, but I don't think anybody has truly moved on from it, okay? I mean, maybe Kenya, because I'm happy that I haven't really seen her like any tweets or still retweet or tweet about certain things. Like, she's been quiet, and that's what I've wanted from her, because I'm like, Kenya, let the season play out. People still don't like Britt Edie. So if you're quiet, you probably still have an opportunity to come back for season 17 if that's something that you want. Okay? If that's something you want, then girl, play the game correctly. If not, do what you do. But moving on, let's talk about Angela. So Angela decided to clear up the whole rumors about Charles having an outside baby. So let me play that clip.
Clear that up, because we can clear, and it more will come out in the show. When he got drugged out of Madison Square Garden, like, I see people are saying that's not a big deal. This is Charles Oakley going to the New York Knicks game, a team that he gave his blood, sweat, and tears. He has bruises on him to this day, scars that will never heal, from playing in that arena. So he's at a game and he gets drugged out on national television. That's just like someone coming in here, dragging you out of here unprovoked for life. And this is a man with, I'm not going to say ego, but ego.
Pride.
Who's, who has pride. So when that happened to him, that was traumatic. And when I say traumatic, I didn't recognize him anymore. And I don't even think he knew who he was anymore because everything was snatched from him. So we separated in that time. Yes, we separated, meaning you go do you go figure this out. And I'll be here when you need my support. But you can't keep pushing my support away because he didn't know what it was. Like, he didn't understand what was happening to him. So I gave him grace. Now, with that being said, he got to see if this is what he wanted. And, in that time, he found his way back home. But that's what happened. But go ahead.
Okay, but he did have a son or a baby.
No.
He didn't have an outside baby.
No.
I'm not going to call baby outside, but all your kids are between the two of you.
No, he has a son.
Okay, now help me out, friend.
But you see, I don't know when it's coming out because I kind of wanted to play out on the show because I love that this Wendy Williams story is kind of like growing legs.
Okay.
This is something that happened in 2020 where I saw Wendy at a party, and me being a fan of Wendy is like, oh my God, Wendy, you going through it, sis. Let me tell you, it's just a baby. And Charles and Wendy have been friends 30 years. Like, they known each other, so he's been on her show. And so they had an event together, and we're coming together to cook for this event. And I'm like, Wendy, girl, stay with your husband. It's just a baby. And she was like, get the away from me. She was like, has that ever happened to you? And I'm like, yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This lady goes on her big platform and says, I pointed to my husband, who actually wasn't even around us in this conversation. And I'm like, no, Wendy, my daughter's father, my 25-year-old father, did that to me. So I'm like, and the best thing that ever happened to me was
I don't know if this really clears everything up. It does give more context to the conversation that Wendy and her had, but maybe it's a little too convenient that she's blaming it on her oldest child's father, who is, dead. So he can't come out and refute this information, or maybe it is true. I don't know. I just feel like Angela not just basically saying that, no, his son is this years old. This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. It still feels like he had that baby on you. But I mean, like, if you're staying with him, who are we? Like, who do we care? But I don't feel like this clears everything up, in my opinion. But I am interested in seeing how they deal with this going forward, because if they're addressing this on the show, I do want to see how they attack the situation. So let's talk about Kelli, okay? So it looks like Kelli's husband, Mark, or Truvalo Ferrell, aka Mark Ferrell, is trying to pull a Simon Guobadia and is hitting the network or production with a cease and desist. So this was posted by the Jasmine brand, and it says this: Kelli Ferrell's ex-husband Truvalo Ferrell slams Bravo with a cease and desist over false narratives on RHOA. Now, they did attach legal paperwork, but I'm not about to read all of that. I'll just read the caption that the Jasmine brand posted, and it says this: Truvalo, aka Mark Ferrell, the ex-husband of Kelli Ferrell, a newcomer on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, has issued a cease and desist order to Bravo Media and NBC Universal. The legal action demands an immediate halt to what he calls a defamatory portrayal on the show, which have harmed his reputation and well-being. Despite a divorce decree preventing disparagement, Mark claims that false allegations of financial misconduct and threats have been aired. He seeks public clarification, requesting media outlets retract misleading statements and rectify their coverage, aiming to restore his image and protect his family and business interests. So here's the thing, Mr. Mark, Mr. Truvalo. Sir, if you did the things that she's saying, that is not defamation. If you did steal close to $500,000 out of y'all's joint business bank account, it's not defamation. If you actually caused her second location to fail on purpose because you are mad at her, it's not defamation. If you actually got arrested, which is public record, because you did not pay your child support, that's not defamation. And if you actually threatened her in front of a judge to the point where the judge granted her a restraining order right then and there, that's not defamation. If these are truly Kelli's lived experiences, then she's allowed to speak about them. Okay, but moving on, let's continue to talk about Kelli. So it looked like Mia is really trying to put her plan into action when it comes to being a part of Real Housewives of Atlanta, because I'm guessing Kelli had like a event at her restaurant and Mia pulled up and I was like, girl, a mess. And you got Shamia just skinning and grinning with Mia, and I'm just like, ma'am, y'all really gonna let this lady into the clique? But I really do hope production knows we don't want Mia on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Granted, I told y'all I think Mia would do fine with this group. I just don't care to see her anymore. Let her go back to private citizenship like Erica De Niro says. So moving on, let's talk about Giselle and Porsha. So on Saturday night, Giselle and Porsha were on Watch What Happens Live, and they got into some things. The first clip I want to play for you guys is them asking Porsha and Giselle how they feel about Mia being down in Atlanta.
A lot of questions wanting to know both of your reactions to Mia Thornton announcing her move from Potomac to Atlanta. What was your reaction
She's
to that?
yours now, honey. That's your response? Yes. I welcome her to Atlanta. I do. I like Mia. I think Mia is a good time.
Again, I will say production better not put that lady on this show because we don't want to see it. Okay, so moving on, there were a few fan questions that were posed towards Porsha. One being from a guy that asked her about why she was being so shady about Shamia's song. And I thought her response was interesting, so let me play that for you.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Porsha. Hi, Giselle.
Hi, Phil.
Porsha, do you regret shading Shamia's song at the bank dinner considering how hurt she looked by it for so long afterwards?
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Was that intentional shade?
No. I thought she sounded like Drew. It's like stacked. It actually sounded like Drew to me. But I love her song. She's amazing. Please go pick it up. It was no shade to my friend Pharrell.
All right.
Honestly, I took it as shade. Even though Porsha is saying like, oh, no, it was no shade. Even the way that she's saying it, I was like, yeah, girl, it was shade. And you know you look bad. So now you're trying to like somewhat be like, well, no, it wasn't. But I could have gave Porsha the benefit of the doubt if she would have just said like, is that Drew one time? But then she kept going while they were at the dinner at the vault or the bank, whatever you call it. And it was like, girl, it definitely felt like you were trying to shit on her moment when it was like, why are you acting this way? So you made yourself look bad, in my opinion. So the final video that I want to play for you guys is Porsha addressing the Angela Oakley or Charles Oakley comment that happened down at the pool. So let me play that clip for y'all.
Well, speaking of a good time, tonight y'all ended the episode with a real good time, except for Miss Oakley, who feels that you said that you should F her husband.
Oh.
Did you say that?
Miss Inspector Gadget?
Yes.
First of all, my public apologies. But I don't know anything that happened.
Okay, it was the Henny. It was the Henny.
It was a late night
You don't know
Kiki.
anything.
I don't know anything. It was a late night Kiki, and she wasn't supposed to hear that. It was.
She wasn't supposed to hear
Everybody was
that.
spilling tea,
Yes.
as you can hear, as you
Right.
see. Everybody
Yes.
was spilling tea.
See, Porsha just gonna lie because on the episode she said she didn't say anything, but we got confirmation from Kelli that she did say, you know, she better leave me alone before I F her husband. And now you're on Watch What Happens Live saying, I don't remember anything, you know, my public apologies. So you know what you said was trash. Now you want to blame it on the alcohol. And my thing about it is Porsha is so full of it, but people give her passes. And I saw a lot of people bringing up this question like, had that been Kenya, y'all would have been talking about this for 40 days and 40 nights, just raking her over the coals. And I made mention of where I said it's because they're perceived differently. Porsha and Kenya are very beautiful women, but Kenya is perceived as smart and beautiful, meaning that the moves that she makes are seen to be more malicious and more calculated. Like she's like an evil temptress. Whereas you have Porsha, who is pretty, but people perceive her as being ditzy and dumb. So it's like what she does is harmless, so people are willing to give her more grace. It's like she's the damsel in distress, you know? But what she said was some BS, and she deserved a slap in the face. Because knowing your history, Porsha, why would you ever make that comment? It also shows that Porsha has not like really analyzed her behavior. And even if she thinks what she did was right, the fact that an overwhelming majority of people has said like, no girl, you was foul for that. That therapy she says she going to that therapist is not doing their job. Because why would you ever make that comment knowing the way that people see you now? Mess. So moving on, let's talk about Drew. So Drew popped off a couple of tweets, and I want to talk about them. So the first tweet was, finally everyone gets to see the true colors of people and how they actually feel about you, and also direct energy to the wrong person when you're really mad about something else. It's the dramatics for me, which is comical because I feel like Drew is being dramatic and she knows what she's doing. Going on, it says, when you continue to make an olive branch and try to address the situation to move forward in a better way, but you get this high school mean girl energy. She then goes on to say, if it was a true friendship, you would have just had a conversation and moved forward. You would have addressed your friend if your friend made a mistake in your eyes. This emotional roller coaster is unnecessary and not needed. The constant degrading comments and the disrespect is not necessary. And the last tweet was, hey, at Angela Oakley 34, I just want to say how much I appreciate you. It takes real strength to stand by someone, and you show me what true friendship is. I'm so grateful to have you in my corner. Thank you for being you. So here's the thing, and I'm going to expound upon this more in my review. I don't think Drew is a victim by any sorts. Do I feel like Porsha does have mean girl energy? Yeah, but I feel like Drew knows what she's doing. The comments that you're making, like, you know, it's getting under Porsha's skin, and yet you continue the behavior. So do I feel like Porsha is dragging this situation? Yeah, she is, but Drew knows what she's doing. I'm not gonna let that go. And lastly, let's end off with Ralph. So Ralph posted this Instagram photo and he captioned it with this. He says, I smile because I know God got me. I smile because no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I smile because I don't lose with where it matters most. Smearing my character and losing on national television is diabolical. Personally, I would ask for a refund. Thank you to my attorney, Miss Precious Anderson, for taking over my case, getting the records unsealed, and helping me maintain access to my kids. Not all superheroes wear capes. Ralph, shut the hell up. Oh my gosh. But I'm not gonna lie. It is kind of comical that Drew has been saying all these things about Ralph, but yet y'all went to court and it doesn't seem like you got a lawyer that's really in the fight. So I can't knock him totally for being like, yeah, girl, you tried to play with me, but I got one up on you. But he's still a peanut-headed asshole. So shut up, Ralph. But that's all I got for you guys. Please make sure you come back to the channel because I will be posting my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta here soon. Please drop down in the comments below and share your thoughts about what I've shared with you, as well as like the video and subscribe. And as always, remember to be bravely authentic. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.